Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Sparkling Tuna Cup, the STC number 118, your weekly dose of Open StarCraft, of Tuna StarCraft. Of course, I'm here with VIP, with whom I'm joined by these amazing players, by the ByuN chat, and by everyone else as well. Welcome, one more white plushies. Soon they'll be with me. Will we? Welcome one all. As we are diving into our weekly broadcast, I do apologize that we have been on a bit of a hiatus. Unfortunately, we have been unavailable for most of January, so we didn't really have as many Tuna Cups as we would typically expect in the month of January. But now coming into February, we should be back on track, back on a weekly basis, every single week. Open StarCraft! Exclamation mark! Be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at it yourselves. The bracket is live. The bracket is stacked. Let us have a look together. Let's go, baby, let's go. As we consider teams over from the top, we have some pretty intense players. we got some of the best players in the world, baby. Of course we have Classic is coming in as the #1 seed. Classic is coming in as the favorite player to win the entire tournament. We'll see who, if anyone, can stop him and bring him down. Likewise, we have Hacker as top, Ukrainian random player. We've got Nightmare, Korean Protoss. We've got Shameless, another European Protoss player as well. We got ByuN, we got Nicorite, ShoWTimE, Young Yakov, the Mega Universe, and many more. So again, we got a stacked bracket here. Plenty of Protoss, plenty of Terran, a little bit of Zerg. Shout out to Young Yakov, of course. I'm hoping he can wave that Zerg flag and have a deeper run just for a little bit of diversity. But best of luck as we are jumping into our fresh series, our fresh best of 3. Gonna be jumping into ShoWTimE versus Cosmwings. Let's go. Let us go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Manors, we have the German Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself, representing the land of Finland, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Cost Phoenix. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. As we get into this, a big shout to Luis GGG. Gracias. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time. And welcome, as we have now just begun the broadcast. Our tournaments, our weekly tournaments. Again, we're here on round 16, and we're jumping into our initial PvP. The winner of this series plays against the winner of the Mega and Young Yakov. We'll be following from one series into the other. We'll get there. We will get there. For the time being, I'll be honest, I don't know if I've ever casted Cost Phoenix before. Cost Phoenix is a semi-regular in our tournaments, but mainly amateur events. Cost Phoenix, we've seen him grow and rise through the ranks through Diamond, into Masters, into now low GM. Cost Phoenix is definitely the underdog coming into this, but I'm excited to see what he brings to the table and how he compares to ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE, of course, one of the other favorites of the event. Oh boy, it's not an easy opponent. Not at all. Not in the first round, but let's go. Let's get into it. For now, 2-gate opener out of Cost Phoenix. Likewise, 2-gate opener out of ShoWTimE. We don't have any workers out on the map. There's no proxy pylon. There's no attempted fake proxy pylon either. So no shenanigans. So far, everything's looking standard. As we get into this, a big shout out to, again, big shout out to Luis. A shout out to all the others in the chat as well. La Gracia as well. Shema, papi Shema. Buenos dias. To all those that are going to be tuning in. Whew. And again, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've had our Tuna Cup. Typically, our Tuna Cups are on the weekend. Typically, they're on Sundays. But what was this weekend? Home Story Cup. Right, Home Story Cup was over the weekend, so we did not want to clash with HSC with Home Story Cups. So again, like, we tried to avoid that sort of thing. And yeah, typically whenever there's Home Story Cup or say Rongi Cup, for example, true Rongi Cup over the weekend, there's been a lot of major events, a lot of big tournaments, so we haven't necessarily been able to line things up. But starting next week, we should be able to get back on track on a Sunday broadcast for Tuna Cup. Should be able to get back in. For now, though, For now, we are going to be moving out. Here comes initial hallucination. Likewise, just 2-gate opener into the expand. Likewise, ShoWTimE doing the same thing. No crazy early tech. We have our tech of choice from ShoWTimE going for a Twilight Council. That's a council after the Nexus. So with this working towards Blink. Additional sentries out of ShoWTimE just for scouting information. Just a triple sentry opener. It's a very safe way to play PvP. It allows you to just hallucinate and keep hallucinating across the map. Get all that scouting information just to confirm any tech, just to confirm the bases, any greedier play, any more aggressive play, any hidden structures, anything that just looks amiss. Should get eyes on it. As hallucination does slip by. Slips by, slips into the main base, likewise confirming the tech a little bit later here than ShoWTimE, going for a slightly later Twilight Council, but also towards Blink. He's getting there. So we are working into that Blink. Likewise, hallucination just checking the edge of the map just to make sure there's no proxy, no shenanigans. The Tuna. It's beautiful. ShoWTimE moves out with his Tool Adepts. Remember, Tool Adepts taking one-shot probes, so he's going to have them ready here to dive into a mineral line, to backstab, to try to harass, and to test the defenses of Cos Phoenix. As ShoWTimE harasses, bam, third base. Third base is being thrown down. Cos Phoenix instead does go for additional gateways that actually shade into the main. Ooh, the wall. Yeah, the wall was wide open. We bust into the main base. 1, 2, 3 probes going down. Can we get 4? Can we get up to 5? Oh, nice force field. Okay. Nice force field looking down one of the adepts. One adept goes down, but still 3 probe kills for one adept. That is still a better trade for ShoWTimE. Could have been worse, though. Could have been worse. But again, Cos Phoenix did throw in an extra gateway, so a 4-gate setup on 2 bases. A very aggressive setup here from our Protoss player, but I don't see a Robo. No Robo, no Warp Prism. Probe moves out. Are we just going for a proxy gateway just to reinforce across the map, just to commit? Okay, let's go. It's all or nothing for Cos Phoenix. You can see the probe move in position, setting up the proxy. This does feel a little bit late though. I would imagine the Cos Phoenix wants to push now, but the proxy is only just now being set up. So it feels like a delayed push and a delayed all-in. Hallucination confirms lack of third and extra gateways. ShoWTimE knows. ShoWTimE knows, and bam, he throws down 2 batteries. So we have 2 shield batteries on the way. Immortal production has begun. ShoWTimE, he's aware that an all-in is coming his way. That is why time is of the essence, and that's why I was hoping this would hit a little bit faster. Cos Phoenix, now he's starting to move out, but again, reinforcements are going to be that much more delayed, and ShoWTimE has plenty of time to prepare. Even hallucinating a fake Immortal does hallucinate. Checking the army sizes here. Again, Cos Phoenix does have a massive Stalker lead. I mean, he should. But now there's going to be a 3rd battery. Yeah, 3 shield batteries, 2 pylons to make sure everything stays powered. A real Immortal has arrived. Here we go, Cos Phoenix, he commits in. Remember, it's all or nothing. Oh no, he gets baited. Yeah, 2 volleys on the fake Immortal. Aye, aye, aye. Yeah, the other Immortal does tank so many volleys, and the Immortal is immortal. It does not go down. ShoWTimE, he shuts down the army. He breaks the all-in, and ShoWTimE is snowballing out of control. Cos Phoenix has to get the hell out of here, but he cannot scale well into a longer game. At the same time, Adepts are going down. Sorry, Adept is popping off, I should say. 11 probe kills. Oh my god. GG gets called, and ShoWTimE takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. An explosive end here to the game. Again, Cos Phoenix building up into a 2-base all-in. Unfortunately, everything got scattered. It did feel like it hit a little bit too late, but everything was scouted, everything was seen. ShoWTimE was more than ready back at home. Shout out to that MVP hallucination, as that hallucinated Immortal tanked 2 volleys of the entirety of that main army, so did bait Cos Phoenix. And likewise, as the all-in was progressing, we had the Adept popping up across the map, getting 11 probe kills. GG. Whew, GG, well played. With that, ShoWTimE takes the lead in the series, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. We're jumping into game 2. Game 2 is going to be on the Old Republic. It's going to be another one of these larger maps in the map pool. Once again, we'll see how our players will approach this. Cos Phoenix is, of course, fully aware that he is the underdog. Did opt to go for the 2-base all-in game 1. Do we see another 2-base all-in? Do we go for earlier aggression and go for an earlier proxy? Do we go for a proxy rover, proxy Stargate, attempted even a fake proxy? Let's go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the German Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss leading the series 1-0. And looking to claim the series here and now. It is a ShoWTimE for Sentinels. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Finnish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Cursed Phoenix. Let's go. Whew, let us go. We have our PvP, and again, I feel like the pressure once again is... Now, the pressure once again is going to be on Cursed Phoenix here to bring something different to the table, to be hyper aggressive, or to cut some corners, right? It's going to be on Cursed Phoenix to gamble a little bit, to take a risk, take a chance, whether it's all in, whether it's hyper greed, one extreme or the other is what we're expecting out of Cursed Phoenix. It's kind of the risk that you have to take here when you're up against one of the best players in the world. Oh boy. The other approach you can take, of course, is that, hey, you might want to just play standard, play macro, and see how you compare to one of the best players in the world. We'll see. So, as we have our probes go to the main, likewise, Cursed Phoenix doing the same. Both players getting eyes on each other. There's that second pylon for ShoWTimE, and the second pylon for Cursed Phoenix should soon be thrown down. There it is. Oh. Hello. So Cursed Phoenix, I don't know if you noticed, but he actually veers off towards the right-hand side. He's going to be hiding his probe here, and it looks like he's thinking about proxying his third pylon. So we have one, we have two. The first two pylons are here back at home, but he is throwing down or setting up to hide his probe. Show us what you got. Warp gate has begun. Yep, there it is, a third proxy pylon. Now, ShoWTimE, when you're across a map like this, he already confirmed that both pylons are back at home, but now you're looking for the third pylon. We can see here the third pylon in the natural of ShoWTimE. He does go for a Stargate before expanding. ShoWTimE, he does spot a pylon being thrown down. He does pylon block the natural as well. And the Cursed Phoenix, this is technically a slightly inefficient build, but oh, what is the plan? Show us the gateway, show us the robot. Twilight Council. Okay. Interesting. So again, you can see that he's oversupplied here. So technically, this is an inefficient variation by Cursed Phoenix, but that's why he's able to keep it hidden and keep it hidden. He gives a probe around, so it looks like a proxy Dark Shrine. No, never mind. What? Twilight Council into Robo. Okay. It's a lot of tech. Oh my. Wait, what? I'm a little bit perplexed, not gonna lie. This is Dark Shrine, right? We're waiting here for the Dark Shrine? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, I'm a little bit torn here. On the one hand, it's cool, right? Proxy Dark Shrine. At the same time, it's a later Twilight Council, and also going for the Robo and going for the War Prism as well. We're investing quite a bit here into the setup, into the build itself. Oh, I have to get into the main. Oh god, oh no. We have limited units. Getting 1, 2, 3 probe kills. Nice start for ShoWTimE. He also confirms there's no expansion. Like this, seeing that there's no base is a tell. Something's wrong. Something's wrong, something amiss. You can see a Void Raise on the way. Oracle moves out to harass, which means there is detection, of course. A defensive Robo as well, also on one base. So ShoWTimE doesn't necessarily know what's going on, but he's just preparing for anything. For everything. Oracle goes in. Cursed Phoenix out of position. Everything's going down. 6 probe kills. Again, the Dark Shrine is so it just takes so long to really get going. And by the time it does, there will be detection. ShoWTimE's on patrol. You can see he's searching with the Adepts.
I am here in the shadows.
There are 3 Dark Templar warping in. The Oracle is home, does have the relation available. And Cursed Phoenix has to be so careful with this Prism. Does break in. Up! And one volley goes up. There's a relation. Oh, the Prism! Prism goes down. DTs as well. And with that, the proxy has failed. We attempt the recall, and the Archon looks like will be saved. But there's nothing at home. There's nothing left. There's 14 probes. 14 probes. Again, this all in. This cheese did hit too little too late. ShoWTimE, he of course recognized that there was no base, that there was no tech, something was wrong, and he was ready back at home. Let's go. Oh no, I killed the critter. No, Cost Phoenix. Happy. ShoWTimE does find the proxy. I'm gonna shut it down. Catching up both pylons, the observers here as well. Spots the Dark Templar. Back at home, there's a Revelation. Revelation is available. Cost Phoenix going for the Ninja base. Up. Locks it in. Very nice force field. Locks down the Dark Templar. And Cost Phoenix will lose everything. Back at him, what is it to work with? There's 2 gateways, there's 1 cyber core, there's Ninja base, still only 14 probes. Macroing out of this is not going to happen. Cost Phoenix is perpetually behind. There is a chance that maybe we can find some damage with these Dark Templar. True, there is a chance. There's a Revelation. The Oracle does clean up the DT. Dark Templar is cleaned up. ShoWTimE moves out. And ShoWTimE, he's looking to end the game. He's looking to straight up end the game. He's pushing up the ramp. Behind this, there are a couple of force fields. True, so Cost Phoenix can buy some time, force field the ramp. But what's he buying time for? ShoWTimE has arrived. Ooh, 1 sentry goes down. There's 1 sentry left. 1 sentry remaining. Gateways. And we're down to 0 gates. Yeah, 0 weapons. We go for the recall. In case our Cost Phoenix evacuates bottom right, recalls the probes, recalls the army. And ShoWTimE's gonna have to try to hunt them down. It's gonna be looking for GG gets called, and ShoWTimE will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Congratulations to ShoWTimE. Shout out to Cost Phoenix, by the way. Shout out to Cost Phoenix because, again, game 1, we had a really nicely set up 2-base roll, and it did feel like it hit late. Like the proxy pylon, the proxy gateway was delayed. Here we had an interesting build in game 2, going for a proxy Dark Shrine, but a delayed Twilight Council, going for the council after the 3rd pylon. So delayed setup there. I think the idea of the delayed setup was to hide the build a little bit better, but the problem was that even though he had his pylon across the map, even though he did have a 4th pylon, essentially, we saw that ShoWTimE was scouting and checking and saw and took notice there was no base, right? There was no nexus, there was no tech. Clearly there was something missing from the hallucination scouts, so ShoWTimE played it safe, getting his own Stargate, Void Ray, Robo, Detection, Oracle, was very, very secure on 1 base, and was able, and didn't really know what was coming his way, but was ready for anything. Was ready for the Dark Templar. GG. GG, well played. Whew, with that, ShoWTimE does advance on, and we're going to be following ShoWTimE into that next round. Let's catch up. Exclamation mark, be in the chat, have a look at the back yourselves. The bracket is live, the bracket is stacked, and from the top we do have our results coming in. So Hackers Top versus Perceive is still ongoing. That's of course our Ukrainian random player up against Korean Terran. They're facing off. Winner goes up against Classic. Meanwhile, Nightmare takes down Ragnar 2-0. Shameless takes down Lord of Realm 2-0, and we have Nightmare versus Shameless in the quarterfinals. In a PvP, there's a lot of Protoss up there. A lot of Protoss in the upper half of the bracket. Scrolling down, we have ByuN. ByuN still waiting for the winner of Nickrat and Universe. That's a TVT that is ongoing. We have ShoWTimE takes down Cost Phoenix 2-0, and ShoWTimE is waiting for the winner of Young Yakov and the Mega, who are both currently in mid-game. They're 2 minutes into their game. Just spying on them. So that does mean that we have a bit of downtime here. It means we do have some downtime. We are going to be waiting for Young Yakov and Demega to either wrap up their series or wrap up their game, and then we can jump into the ace match if we do have a game 3. So we can either jump into the ace match or follow the winner into ShoWTimE. Young Yakov, he is the favorite player there, but Demega, you know, he's a returning ex-pro player. You know, he's been playing a little bit more as of late. I'm excited to see how Demega does perform. Much love to Demega, much love. Is near and dear to our hearts here, and we'll see how they compare to each other. Again, focusing on this part of the bracket just because Jan Yakov, he's the highest rated Zerg player, and fun fact, is the only Zerg player left in the tournament. So we do want to feature a little bit of Zerg while we can. It's still going to be a tough opponent though. Again, ShoWTimE, it's not easy for anyone to go up against it. Not easy, not easy. But again, a shout out to Cos Phoenix for competing, for taking part, taking place, and hope to see more of him in the future when it comes to maybe our amateur events or more Tuna Cups as well. Once again, though, we're going to be cutting to a break. And if you want to support us, don't forget you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund this very tournament. You can actually see it under my, I was going to say under my face, but maybe you can see a little bit better here. But you can see, bam, just under ShoWTimE's name, we do have our sub goal, we have donation goal, but we also have our Patreon and how much we do earn via Patreon, and our next goal as well. Our Patreon does fund this tournament, and all of our tournaments on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. So you can help us boost the prize pool for the Tuna Cup via Patreon if you wish. You can help us out. Otherwise, we're going to be cutting to a short break, and when we come back, we will have again either the ace match between Jan Yakov and the Mega, or we'll have the winner versus ShoWTimE. See you soon. See you soon. Bye. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we returned. We returned here with the quarterfinals of the Sparkling Tuna Cup. We just featured ShoWTimE taking down his first opponent in the round 16, but now he has a much more terrifying opponent. We have the highest rated Zerg player in the entire tournament facing off against him. Let's go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the German Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Sentinels. It is a ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the lone Zerg player left in the bracket. It is young Yakov. Let's go. Let us go. We are here, we are back, we are jumping into our PvZ, and if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is a gambit time. Predictions are now open. Place your bets. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our PvZ. Coming into this ShoWTimE is still the favorite player here to go even further in the tournament, but young Yakov, he is one that can bring him down. He is definitely one that can take it to ShoWTimE on a good day. If he can play the best he can, if he can bring his A game, then he can cause an upset. Let's go. Let us go. For now, Hatchcast full standard opener out of young Yakov. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE opening up with a gate expand. Everything's looking normal so far, aside from the fact that young Yakov was forced to take the unnatural natural. So a slightly more awkward setup here for young Yakov. It's going to be a little bit more awkward, but outside of that, we should be able to settle in. And welcome to Winter Madness. Winter Madness being one of the larger maps in the map pool. Larger map, but longer rush distance by ground, more defendable bases as well, and this often does lead to longer mid-game play. Now, young Yakov traditionally is an aggressive player. We do see a lot of 3-base all-ins and 3-base play out of young Yakov. That is what I am leaning towards here on Winter Madness. Muta play is on the table, for sure. Muta play is going to be on the table, but before that, I'm expecting like 3-base play, 4th base just for Lava, Lingbane, Hydra is kind of what I'm leaning towards for young Yakov, but we'll see. Because it's been a while. It's been a while since we featured too much of young Yakov. It has been a while. But now though, now we are going to be calming down, going to be settling in. Players are going to be droning, saturating, and soon we can get into our technical choice. Speaking of, that is Stargate open out of ShoWTimE. Stargate into an Oracle is to be expected. We have seen a lot of Void Ray play from players like Hero as of late in PvZ, but Void Ray openers and follow-ups are a little bit more rarer here, and I don't really think that ShoWTimE is one to mix in Void Ray based play. But we'll see. We shall see. A Void Ray is typically designed to high tech and to obscure vision from the Zerg. To even guessing. ShoWTimE does dip in. Once again, because of the unnatural natural, ShoWTimE is able to abuse this position in between the bases. Able to take advantage. As the second adept has arrived, to adept second one-shot drones. And now we can start to threaten shades. So he does threaten the shade into the main. Does commit. He does commit in. He gets 1, he gets 2. Getting up to 3 drone kills, not bad. And looks like, can he get 4? Barely can. 4 drone kills in the end. Not a bad trade. Not a bad trade here by ShoWTimE. Takes down 4 drones. At the same time, young Yakov now going for his own counterattack. The goal here is to delay the 3rd base. We'll see if he can. 3rd is being thrown down. And ShoWTimE, he keeps his Oracle at home. Yeah, it does keep it at home, playing it safe. Lings to go for the probe, and the probe will fall. So it does delay the expansion. Does delay the setup. As he's hunting for the other probe. Oh, can he get it? He can! Nice pickup. Yakov takes on both workers. Big delay on the 3rd base. Okay. So delays the 3rd even further. Behind this, throwing down spores, getting ready for the counterattack. As he gets a 3rd worker, still no expansion. Ay. Yakov, calm down. Very nice moves. Considering that the Oracle stayed at home, like, this is a surprising amount of damage, for sure. It is surprising. 3 probe kills, big delay in the 3rd base. Again, Yakov is droning, saturating, building up the spores, getting the screens in position. Is going to be lair first. Okay, 4:45 at lair timing out of young Yakov. Going lair first into the Evo chamber. This could be, this looks more like plus on range. Yeah, we have a later roach one here, so relatively safe play out of young Yakov. Soon though, ShoWTimE will move out. He's got his triple oracle. With 3 oracles, he can ignore spores, he can find some damage. He should be getting across the map. So here comes ShoWTimE's move out. Back at home, a standard follow-up, going for the Twilight Council, Forge, and even a Robo. Okay, a slightly earlier Robo here out of ShoWTimE. I'm leaning towards +1 and Blink, but we'll see if he goes into Charge, which has been more trendy as of late. True. Has been more trendy. Oracle's at 1. 1 drone goes down, barely any hull damage. So far so good, and yep, there it is. Charge is on the way. As I mentioned before, as we mentioned coming into this, it has been more trendy, has been more meta as of late over the past month. Over the past, like, what, 3-4 weeks. Has been on the uptick. Meanwhile, Dubsay busts into the main. They deal with all the lings, and the drones are exposed. Uh-oh. Yeah, Yakov. Unfortunately, despite having the Roach Warren, he has no Roaches to defend. Dubsay shading towards the 3rd base, and Yakov is being torn apart here. Drones are going down. Yeah, getting into 4 or 5 drone kills. 5 drones go down. Behind this, young Yakov trying to go into Roach Hydra. Again, skip +1 melee, was a later Eva Chamber. Yakov is on the way, but taking a lot of hits, taking a lot of losses. Now, the scariest thing about what's going on here is whether or not young Yakov skips Roach production. He's getting Roach speed, but there's a high chance that he just goes straight into Hydras. If that occurs, this charge timing with Archons as well is going to hit hard and may even break young Yakov. So he's got to be careful at the moment. He's just trying to re-drone, trying to resaturate, recoup those losses. Lings are spotted here by ShoWTimE. As they will pick off the cannon. Cannon goes down. Nice round here on the Zealots. Charge is now revealed. True. Even getting a pylon. Okay. Nice damage with these Zerglings. And Yakov makes Roaches. So now he's prompted to build up his Roach count, to build up his buffer. We're getting into a longer game stage. Now, coming into this so far, I do favor ShoWTimE's position. He's on 3 bases, 66 workers, and taking up into Storm. Yakov is still recovering, still on a lower drone count. As he attempts to transfer, and he does pick up an Oracle. Okay. There we go, Oracle goes down. Nice pick off out of young Yakov. And Yakov, he's still not droning. So that transfer, I assumed, was to save his workers. He might just be trying to fake out. He's making it look like he's droning when he's really not. But ShoWTimE, is he taking the bait? He's throwing down some cannons. Young Yakov, he's all in. Yakov, he's all in. 3 base all in. Again, fake saturation as he pulled the workers from his 3rd. The droning is fake back. But ShoWTimE is not expanding. Building on more immortals. Yakov going for the Cybercore. Cybercore does go down. He got the storms. Yeah, first one does land. First one lands. Another storm here is zoning back the Roaches. ShoWTimE is holding. He's holding his own, but he does lose one of the immortals. Yeah, big overextension. As one immortal goes down. He needs some kind of buffer here. We need some warp ins. ShoWTimE took a 4th. This is greedy. Took a 4th base. ShoWTimE, he may not recognize that he's being all in. As right now we need as many warp ins as possible. Oh, I say that young Yakov, he starts to join, then he starts to tech. He believes he cannot kill. And that means that this 4th base, it was actually a very good call. Very good call. ShoWTimE, he's going to get further ahead. As Yakov is abandoning his all-in. Still trying to rotate, still trying to posture. Nice Zella run by, he gets into the mineral line. And Yakov, he races back home. Yeah, he turns everything back around. Ay, ay, ay. 5 drone kills. And again, these drones, they were late. These drones were late anyway. Late infestation, late droning, late saturation. Yakov is being outscaled. Remember, the soup does lie. Yakov's supply is inflated due to the Roaches. So inflated army supply. Does snipe the Oracle. Again, it's pushing into 5 immortals. You might get one. He wants it. Yeah, not quite. Fleet Beacon's on the way. That's going to be for the mothership. At the same time, Yaku going for a split push. Stasis goes off. Immortals are in position, and ShoWTimE, he defends his natural. He defends his fourth base. ShoWTimE is all over this. He's all over this. Oh my god. The storms are crazy, Pappy. Storms are landing. Hydra's getting picked up. And again, things are as bleak as they are because of the failed all-in, right? Yaku chose not to drone, he chose not to expand, he chose not to tech up. That's why everything here is so late, and that's why there's going to be a window in time where ShoWTimE can counterattack before Yaku is ready with a solid army count, with a solid lurker count. If Yaku can buy some time until he can get into high-tech lurkers, then sure, right? Then he can pop off. But there's already Skytoss on the way. Now, you could argue that the second Stargate is late, true. But ShoWTimE was just playing it safe. So late second Stargate, later Skytoss. But ShoWTimE is still in a commanding position, and here comes the move out. Now, Yaku could maybe settle for a base trade or a counterattack to keep ShoWTimE busy. We'll see. Okay, is almost done. How many immortals do we have? 9! 9 immortals. Should it be 10? It's a lot of immortals. Okay, Hive is done. Vipers are on the way. With the arrival of Vipers and with soon the arrival of Lurkers, again, he's catching up. He's catching up when it comes to the quality of the army. Here we go. We got 6 Lurkers on the way. Did I say 6? Getting up to 9. 9 Lurkers. ShoWTimE has been taking his time. He's been taking his time. Slowly getting another expansion. He's not pushing. At the same time, I don't really think he needs to. On one hand, yes, Yaku, he's recovering and taking up. That is true. But ShoWTimE is still building up a superior composition with Skytoss. So there's not that much pressure on ShoWTimE to push. Pressure's on Yaku. ShoWTimE is building up more Tempest. There's 5 links of the elite squad. True. Referring to the links that killed the 3 probes at the start of the game. Not wrong, not wrong. Crazy. Here you go. Tempest has arrived. Viper's coming in. Does feedback 1. Feedback's all 3. Jesus. The all 3 feedbacks. 1 abduction. Tempest survives. Done the Fantailleur. And we mentioned this before, right? The soup does lie. One supply is not quite like the other. ShoWTimE has that superior composition. At the same time, Yaku going for the counterattack. And does get one, does it? Prototype Templar. Very nice. Yeah, quick snipes and late reaction by ShoWTimE. No storm. No storms defensively. Speaking of just 0 high Templar in general. No Templars, no storm. Does get the revelation. And where are those Templar? ShoWTimE lost every Templar in both fights. There we go, now warping in. How many are we getting to? 12? 11. Getting to 11 immortals. Storms, they do land. There's still a couple more storms in the chamber. Just waiting for energy. The army tries to waddle in here, but again, the Tempests are in position. He does get on top of the Nexus at least. And the Nexus is going to go down. Oh, but there's a slow zone. Yeah, there's a slow zone. Lurkers, get out of here. Does waddle away. Yaku going for the counterattack, but again, he runs into 3 Immortals. Yeah, the Immortals do defend. And that was nice damage, and young Yaku behind this, 18 Corruptors. He's got a Spire, +1 Flyer attack, switching into something that can deal with the Skytoss. Switching into Corruptors. So a lot of Corruptors on the way. Now, suddenly I'm concerned for ShoWTimE. The concerning thing here, where's the anti-air? When Corruptors arrive, typically you'd have like 4 or 5 Archons, right? You have a wall of Archons to protect them. But there are no Archons ready here for ShoWTimE. He's been so fixated on the Immortals. And here they come. Yeah, Corruptors, they go for the dive. Parabomb as well. Mothership goes down, and can he reset the Tempest count? He can! Yeah, goes to dive, gets 1, 2, 3, 4, gets all 5 Tempests. Ay, ay, ay. As we mentioned, no anti-air, no Archons. So ShoWTime's army composition was lacking. We hunt down more Tempest. ShoWTime losing his entire advantage here. Losing all the Sky Toss. And now he's stuck on the ground. And now it's the time for not just Lurkers, for Broodlords. Broodlords can now reign supreme. Greater Spire's on the way. Unfortunately, there's no Greater Spire ready yet, but it's on the way. Cool, as we do bleed out some of those Corruptors. And again, ShoWTime just tunnel vision a little bit too much. He has to make use of this army. Ideally, he wants to get rid of some of these Immortals. Like, he wants to get rid of like 4 or 5 of these Immortals and replace them with Archons. Or more Sky Tools, of course. Nice and run by. Breaks down the expansion. At the same time, ShoWTime going for the base trade. ShoWTime, he may lose his 3rd. At the same time, though, he's breaking down the 4th. He's on top of the 4th. Holding onto those storms. Never mind. Just going for the drones. His army was a little bit on A move, so some wasted DPS there, taking a little bit longer. ShoWTime is moving in. And I swear there were some Lurkers, right? There they are. I was like, where are the Lurkers? We're just coming to the base trade. Okay. Lurkers, they keep pushing forward. But ShoWTime is so much faster when it comes to the base trade. These Immortals, they break down buildings so quickly. How do you defend Broodlords? Their Broodlords are the way to play this out. We have 3 Broodlords morphing in. That might not be enough, though. Getting up to 6 Broodlords. But suddenly, like, can he deal with the Sky Toss? ShoWTime still has mining. As Prototomic breaks into the natural, the Hive is exposed. Broodlords are revealed. Oh, it doesn't get the Hive. Oh. It does not get the Hive in the end. ShoWTime is going to recall. Let's get the hell out of here. Hopes not to. Nice Zealot run-bys. Gets 5 drone kills, and ShoWTime, he gets out. He gets out. He's building up more Tempests. Jesus. So we've rebuilt 6 Tempests. We got 6 Tempests against 6 Corruptors. Suddenly, the anti-air is not there for young Yakov. He needs more time. He needs more Corruptors. Lost his spawning pool. Has to rebuild. And you see ShoWTime bringing the entire army back together. Yeah, and this is a proper death ball this time. Now it's not just Tempest and Immortals and Storm. Now there are Archons. There are 3 Archons as well. Yakov, he cannot keep up. Not against this kind of army. I was curious that the Spire went down. No, he can't make Corruptors. He has no Spire. Oh no. Not like this. Yeah, 6 Corruptors. That's all he has. That's not going to be enough. There's no answer to the Tempest. With abductions. With abductions, and then maybe he can deal with this. When the Temple goes down. Viper's coming in. Ooh, yeah, never mind. No detection, no Overseer. Yeah, no Overseer. Mass Cloak does protect the army. Base goes down. And ShoWTime is moving in. He's moving in. ShoWTime cannot be stopped. Not anymore. Shout out to Young Yakov for making a game out of this. Like, Young Yakov, he had a very rough early and mid game. Again, after the failed all-in, that was it. But then he was able to catch out all the Tempests. Right? He was able to reset the Tempest count. He had some good moments. But again, he's just run out of steam. He's run out of steam. Abducts 1 Tempest. And he kills 1. Let's go. Kills 1 Tempest. Brutal feedback. Viper tries to move in. Abducts 1 Tempest. Tempest does get picked up. Oof. And now he commits. And now he just commits in. GG gets called. ShoWTimE takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a really rough mid-game there for Young Yakov, winding it back. Remember, he cut workers at 66. He went for a 3-base all-in, and the all-in did fail. As a result, ShoWTimE was able to get his 4th base up and running, tech up in towards Skytoss. It was a bit of a late Skytoss transition with only 1 Stargate. True. So it was a little bit late. ShoWTimE, he was playing a little bit more conservative there when it came to his transition. But ShoWTimE, he did have a stronger follow-up there, just building up his army, massing up his immortals, but maybe did tunnel vision a little bit too hard, getting up to 11, 12 immortals, and as a result he had very little anti-air support for his Tempest. We saw like a 14 plus Corruptor switch. The Tempest were on their own. There were like 3 Stalkers on the ground and a couple of Storms, and the Corruptors just reset the Tempest count. That was like the big comeback moment for Young Yakov, was resetting all those Tempests. But unfortunately, as we pointed out, his Greatest Spire was too late. His Greatest Spire began after he killed all the Tempests, not before. So because of that, even though he killed all the Tempests, he had all these Corruptors, he couldn't really do anything with them. He still had his Lurkers, but the Masked Immortal was still the counter to the Lurker. Again, we needed those Broodlords that much faster after killing all the Skytoss, and again, we only saw the Broodlords defensively during the base trade. So they just hit a little bit too late there. But with that GG we played, with that ShoWTimE does take a lead in the series. Now we're going to be getting into game number 2, going to be loading into the Old Republic. Let's go. Looks like our players, they need a moment. Looks like the rest of the bracket is progressing, and oh my god, we already have some semi-finalists, baby. We already got some players in the semis. We'll get there. We will get there. As ByuN is waiting for the winner of the series. ByuN is waiting. So most likely we'll be just following the series into ByuN. We'll see. We'll see who's available first. We'll see which matchup is ready. Whew. Okay, just catching up with the chat. I just seen the YouTube chat. You forgot to mention that if Young Yakov was capable of taking down the Omega, then maybe he has a chance with ShoWTimE. True. If you can take down the Omega, then sky's the limit, back. Sky's the limit. You're not wrong. Not wrong. Este the Omega. Though ShoWTimE was done with the Tempest, melted down, the Immortalings kept him alive. As we mentioned, like, even though the Tempest count was reset, because the Greater Spire was so late, there were no Broodlords, and without Broodlords, Young Yakov couldn't actually press the advantage, right? Just because Lurkers are somewhat countered by just the sheer amount of Immortals that there were available. So a ground composition wouldn't cut it. Didn't need that sky composition, and by the time he got his Broodlords, I mean, the base trade was occurring, if you recall. We were already trading bases, hatcheries were going down, Nexus going down. So unfortunately, just a little bit late when it comes to that tech transition. But regardless, we're getting into game 2. We're getting into game 2. Here we go, as we are going to be loading into the Old Republic. Our players just needed a moment. Going back in. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the German Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Sentinels, leading the series 1-0. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerg player, the blue Zerg player himself. It is Young Yakov. Whew. Here we go. Welcome to the Old Republic. It is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Larger map, longer rush distance by ground, but unlike Winter Madness, I would say that the 3 and 4 base setup is more exposed and more vulnerable. I would say that all-ins do hit harder on this map compared to Winter Madness. It's a little bit surprising that Young Yakov did go for a 3 base all-in last game, but coming into game number 2, I will say that the 3rd and 4th bases are much more accessible. You can see how wide and open the entrance is here at the triangular 3rd base. Likewise, the 4th base options are less than ideal when it comes to defensive play. So we'll see. In my mind, this would be a better map for Young Yakov to all in. Otherwise, we could even see Spire play as well. but I'm a little bit concerned just because I'm not fond of going for an all-in 2 games in a row, right? Like when it comes to the greater series, like it's less than ideal. Are we going gases? Okay, no. Later gas. So hatch, pull into a slightly later gas geyser. Otherwise, standard opener. Just a slight variation. ShoWTimE just being as annoying as possible with that probe. Trying to force some inefficient mining. Jesus. Yeah, it does disrupt. From here, we're going to be settling in and we'll see our tech of choice. Based on the pylon location here, Stargate opener would make a lot of sense. As I mentioned before, I don't really expect to see ShoWTimE mix things up too much. We do see quite often players like Hero, players like Classic going Stargate into Void Ray, but I don't really think that ShoWTimE is one to really delve into that. But we'll see. When it comes to Twilight Council play and Glaive Adept play, that is something that ShoWTimE does delve into, not as an opener, but as a follow-up after the Stargate. If you recall, we casted ShoWTimE versus Raynor not too long ago, where ShoWTimE did force Raynor all the way to the ace match. I believe that was during the EWC, the Road to EWC qualifiers. Yeah, the last chance, like, European qualifiers, ShoWTimE versus Raynor went to the ace match, and we saw that ShoWTimE was able to bring Raynor down 3 different games with Glaive Adepts. It's crazy. Towards the end, he was like, I ran out of builds, baby. I just ran out of builds. And Raynor did win in the end, just barely. But ShoWTimE, he had a really good showing. But if he feels the need to, like, shows that he's willing to all in, he's willing to be hyper aggressive. As both adepts, they do hit the natural. Losing one of the adepts, the other does slip into the mineral line and gets one drone. Just the one though, nothing major. Yeah, gets one drone, nice control here by Young Yakov. Even kills the adepts. Okay, better trade, better defense out of our Zerg player. Losing one drone for 2 adepts. Behind this, ShoWTimE getting his 3rd. Oracles are in position. Young Yakov moves out to counterattack to apply some pressure at the 3rd base, but only a handful of lings. Only 3 Zerglings here for Young Yakov. He shouldn't achieve too much. He shouldn't get much damage. Behind this, going for his Twilight Council. A slightly earlier Council. Late Forge. Okay. With a delayed Forge like this, I mean, regardless of what it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit more committed, a little bit more aggressive. Later Forge, later upgrades. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Glaives, but we could go into Blink, into an 8 gates, 3 base Blink all in. True. Could go into early charge. Show us what you got. Glaives, okay. So going into Glaives. Very aggressive follow-up, and hey, this kind of goes in lines as to what we just said. We opened up talking about how ShoWTimE did go into Glaives quite often against Raynor. Again, that was, what, halfway through last year? And we're seeing it here as well. Stargate into 3rd base, into Glaive Adepts. Now, this is quite committed. It's not all in. Don't get this twisted. This is not an all in, but this is hyper aggressive. The downside is that you're delaying Blink, you're delaying Charge, you're delaying +1, delaying the Forge in favor of earlier economic damage. This has to get damage done. Otherwise, ShoWTimE will fall behind. If Young Yakov skips his Roach Warren, and he's going for +1 range, so he should be getting a safety Roach Warren soon. It's a little bit late, though. We're already past 5 minutes. Yeah, we're past 5 minutes here. If he skips his Warren, he might just die. No shot is just going straight. Okay, there we go. This is a 5:30 Roach Warren. Very late here. So it's going to be purely a Ling Queen defense. As more adepts have arrived, Glaives are now done. Yakov, he's in trouble. As Roach Warren is still halfway done. We have the Oracles to support. Stage trap behind the army. And Shades into the mineral line. Oracles move away. Ooh, Stages on the Queens. Queens get caught out, the boys are being pulled, and drones are falling. As we mentioned, the roach one was so late this game. No defensive roaches, the mineral line goes down, and that's going to be it. Yeah, that's going to be game. Critical damage here. GG gets called, and ShoWTimE pops off. ShoWTimE will claim the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations. ShoWTimE does advance on to the semifinals. Yakov, he was being greedy. He was cutting corners. As you mentioned, 5:30 roach warren is very, very late. Typically, you expect them at around 4:30, if not sub 5 minutes, just to be able to play safe, to get your roaches up just in case. But Yakov, he was cutting corners. I don't blame him. Traditionally, ShoWTimE is known for macro play, but I will say that over the past year, even longer than that, ShoWTimE has been one to show aggressive builds and more cheesy play at times as well. I was citing his previous series against Raynor, where he went Glaive Adepts and did beat Raynor 3 different games in that series with different builds involving Glaive Adepts, right? Like Glaive Adepts, they can catch you off guard, especially if you don't see them coming. GG, well played. With, I mean, hey, you even caught Raynor off guard. But with that, GG, well played. With that, ShoWTimE does advance on to the next round, and let's catch up on the brackets. Let's go. Let us go. Whew. As we have our semifinals, both semifinals actually. From the top, it's gonna be Classic. Classic takes on Perceive 2-0. Perceive, not Percival, a different player. To advance on to the semis, Shameless takes on Nightmare. We have a Classic versus Shameless in the upper half of the brackets. Scrolling down, we have ByuN. ByuN takes on Nickrak 2-0. ShoWTimE takes on Young Yakov 2-0, and we have ByuN versus ShoWTimE. Let's go. Let us go. Classic versus Shameless first. Let's go. And it is going to be Classic versus Shameless first. They were ready. They were the first players and the first duo to be ready. So we're going to be covering the upper semifinals, followed by the lower semis. So Classic versus Shameless coming up next. Followed by ShoWTimE versus ByuN. We'll get there. We'll get there. We go. So just setting up for our players, setting up our teams. Beautiful. But here we go. So again, if you're in the chats, if you want to help support this tournament, you can do so a couple different ways. You can do so via Matcherino, exclamation mark Matcherino in the chat. There is a Matcherino page for this very tournament, so you can help us boost the prize pool for specifically Sparkling Tuna Cup number 118. Otherwise, if you want to help support the tournament as a whole and the tournament series as a whole, Patreon. Patreon is the place to be. We do have our Patreon, which does help us boost the prize pool for all of our events, to help us reach our next goals, and of course help support the players. Can help us via Patreon. Otherwise, videos are underway, and we will soon jump in. Beautiful. Just catching up in the chat. Glaive Adepts, man. Yeah. Again, Glaive Adepts, they can hit quite hard if you don't see them coming, and if you're cutting corners, right? Like, I should try to emphasize as well, just referring to that final game, is that Yakov was cutting corners. It is a little more standard to get an earlier roach warren. He intentionally was getting it later, and that's why he had no answer to that. Not saying that it wasn't just that, but of course the roach warren was also behind the mineral line, so he had no SimCity to wall off, right? That's the other way to kind of approach that, is to buy time by fully walling the natural, to deny the adepts, to deny the shade, and to try to minimize losses and buy time for your units and buy time for your roaches. Just too greedy, Papa. Too greedy. GG. But otherwise, I guess we're going to be cutting to a short break. We're going to be cutting to a short break here. When we come back, we'll have our next series. Again, Classic versus Shameless should be coming up next, assuming that our players are ready for us, followed by ByuN versus ShoWTimE. We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon after the break. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the semi-finals, or semi-finals here of the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 118, the longest running open weekly tournament. True. That's true. The longest running weekly open tournaments. We are back, and we are jumping into our PvP. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Rotus Pro. It is a classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Blue Protoss player. We have the other Protoss from the land of representing Team Little Fairy. It is Shameless. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our PvP. Let's go, baby. Let's go. One of many PvPs is upon us here. We've been avoiding the matchup for as long as we could, but now we're jumping into it here in the semifinals. Coming into this classic is the #1 seed of the tournament. He is the 1 seed, and we'll see if anyone can bring him down. Shameless, of course, he is the rising star, the rising talent from the European region. Shameless is very, very young. I want to say at this point 19, maybe getting up to 20 years old. Has been improving quite steadily though over the past 2 years. Over the past 2 years, has been improving and has been at this point able to reach the echelons of the kind of the middle of the pack when it comes to European Protoss players. When I think of players like Geralt, Christiana, I think of Shameless as well. He's definitely up there. I will still say that Shameless still has some room to grow, of course. He is slightly behind players like ShoWTimE, Max, and Skillus. Like, those are the top three, right? Those are the top three when it comes to European Protoss. So Shameless is just behind them, again, in the ranks with Christiana, Geralt, Hearthstone, for example. Like, they're kind of in that section. But again, has been improving, and we'll see how he performs against Classic. Oh boy. So far, 2 Gate Opener, 2 Gate Opener out of Classic, 2 Gate Opener out of Shameless. Sorry, Gate Expand. Never mind. Gate Cyber Expand. Hyper greedy build here by Shameless, going for a bit of a max, and he's forcing a response, forcing reaction. He should be forcing a 1-base all-in. Oh, never mind. Stargate. Okay, Stargate open out of Classic. Again, I believe it was Gate expanded to Cybercore. Regardless, a very fast Nexus here from Shameless. Hyper Greed. I was just lost in the intro. And the pressure's on Classic. The pressure is on. Do you have a 3-gate follow-up? Classic, by opening up Stargate like this, is only looking to harass, which means Classic will expand, will not go for an all-in. So this is kind of looking better for Shameless. It's looking better. And if they move in. To throw in a shade. Without getting 1 probe so far, denying mining. Even though we have the faster natural base so far, no mining whatsoever, and another probe. Ooh, does barely go down. 2 probe kills. Classic pulls away. Shading to the main. Once again, denying mining. We have more depth. Okay, we have more depth shading in, and Shameless, he cannot keep up. No! Shameless went for a hyper greedy build, but the greed is being punished. We have 6 probe kills already, and we're still not done. Adepts say shade back into the main base. Remember, 2 Adepts say one-shot. They just keep one-shotting. Getting to 7, 8, and 9 probe kills. And remember, we're not done. We have the Oracle as well. The Oracle's moving in. Shameless is in position. Well, these having some hefty losses. It's not just one. We have the second Oracle on the way as well. Highland gets spotted. Ooh, this Classic even punishes the Stalker. Yeah, Shameless sees desperate for damage. He's moving out with everything he has. As he moves out, the Classic is moving in. And back now we already have 2 shield batteries. Soon to be 3. 3 batteries. That's a lot of batteries. That's a lot of shields. Classic able to engage. His 3rd battery's finishing. At the same time, 2 Oracles, a 1-shot probes across the map, getting up to 10 more probe kills. GG. Oh, gosh. Yeah, GG gets called. Classic, he fails to break the natural, and he's crippled back at home. Classic, he will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Shameless going for a hyper greedy build, going for a very fast Nexus here in game 1, and was punished for it. He was punished. He was just torn apart. The Adept harass was insane. Adepts in the main, Adepts in the natural, back and forth and back again. Of course, the Oracles did kind of seal a deal at the end, just crippling the economy even further. But not just that, Shameless was forced into an all-in. He counterattacked, and there was a wall. There was a wall waiting for him. 3 batteries, 3 shield batteries, 3 Stalkers. Classic could not be broken. GG. Shameless, he just fell too far behind, and now we're going to be loading into game 2, going to be loading into Tourmaline. Let's go. Loading into a much smaller map of the map pool, and I have to imagine that Shameless is going to calm down and take a different approach. I would imagine. We'll see. No shot, we're hyper greedy. Not here, not on Tourmaline. No shot. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Team Virtus Pro, leading the series 1-0. It is a Classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Blue Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss himself representing Team Little Fairy. It is Shameless. Here we go. So we're getting into game number 2. Again, Classic, he does take a lead, and we'll see how Shameless will adjust. Once again, Shameless did go for a very greedy build last game. We expect to see him calm down coming into game 2. Nope. Classic does move out with his probe. move out. Again, we're expecting a second gateway here on the high ground. That's classic. He doesn't veer off towards any edge of the map. Just scouting. No proxy. No proxy out of classic. There's a 2-gate opener. Out of both Shameless and Classic this time. Mirrored builds. Hello. As Shameless, he does veer off towards the right-hand side. Okay. Does veer off. With this, we can go for a very real or a fake pylon. Eyes are on Shameless. As the pylon is about to be thrown down, we have the second pylon for Classic in the main base. Meanwhile, this location is close enough to be a proxy Stargate. It's also close enough to technically be a robo. Show us what you got. Meanwhile, Classic, he's aware. He's aware that a pylon is missing. He's aware that something is wrong. Cybercore just finished, and we have the money. There it is, proxy Stargate. So with this, the rush distance by air, again, is relatively short to get into the mineral line. The Stargate is for oracles to bust into the mineral line to get economic damage. Meanwhile, Classic going for a reactionary robo. Okay, this is very safe. If Shameless was going for a proxy robo or a gateway and going for a one-base all-in, then Classic, he would be set up to defend. Against a Stargate, it's going to be a little bit shaky here, and Classic, he himself may go into an all-in as a response. As well have access to early immortal production and a warp prism as well. So we're about to get messy. So here comes the first oracle. Goes on the way. Oh, picks up one of the adepts. And is going to be trading. It does end up trading adepts here. Classic, he does not get into the main base. Classic still playing blind, still in the dark. His main base is still safe though. He has 2 soldiers in position. He's readying the main. Getting a safety shield battery as well. He's getting his battery. Oracle is revealed. Taking a lot of hits already. Ooh, taking a lot of hull damage. Gets 1 probe. So far, it's not worth it. And Shameless expands. And as we mentioned, the Classic, he himself may be forced into a counter all-in. Immortal production has begun. The Prism moves out across the map. Here comes Classic. He moves out. And back at home, Shameless, he has not much to defend back at home. He's got 2 gates. Oh, sorry, 2 Stalkers. He's got 2 Stalkers. He's got 2 gateways. Classic, he's moving out. Shameless is in trouble. And the low ground is going to be forfeit. Okay, does warp in time. Let's go. Let's warp in. The juggling, though. Yeah, Classic does micro, does control, takes down 2 Stalkers. And does save. It does barely pull back in time. Meanwhile, the Oracle goes back into the mineral line. Classic does react. It pulls away, does beat out 1 Stalker, though. Yeah, 1 Stalker goes down. Forces to warp in back at home. But he takes over the natural. Jesus. Does take over the natural. I don't know if I've seen that before. Did you see that? The the sentry activated Guardian shield went into the prism and the prism was flying around with a shield around it. I don't think I've seen that before. I'll be okay. Have I lost my mind? Regardless. As Classic does depower the gateways, pushing up the ramp. Am I crazy? Right? Like, that's not... I am the sentry now. It just looks so bizarre. I don't think I've seen that before. Like the shield surrounding the prism. Here we go. As Classic works his way up the ramp. And Shameless does have his 2 immortals at least. Behind this is 1 shield battery, trying to make a stand. And he's holding on. Yeah, Shameless is holding on. At the same time, probes are still going down though. Oracle's back into the main. Classic, he defends. And again, I don't think Classic has enough here. They just want immortal. Doesn't have enough, but he's killing probes. That's what matters here. He's killing workers, crippling the economy. Oh my god, he does take down the immortal though. Ah, he wants it. He wants the immortal. Does he get both? No shot. What? He gets both immortals. GG. Calm down, Classic. Takes out both immortals in Classic. He will take the series 2-0. He will advance on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Shameless, he had the greater army there. I thought that he was going to at least survive, but he had already lost so many workers. Like, he was already behind economically. But with the micro, with the control, with the juggling from that War Prism, Classic, he did overwhelm, and he did break through. GG, well played. Classic does claim the series. My condolences to Shameless. He was able to hold his own and did have some quirky builds himself. Game 1 being hyper greedy, game 2 going for the cheese, going for the proxy, but again he kind of forced Classic into a 1-base all-in, and Shameless, he could not deal with that kind of aggression, couldn't deal with the all-in that Classic did lay before him. GG. GG, well played. With that, Classic does advance on, and now we're getting ready for the lower semis. Let's go. We are getting ready. Just one momento. Sorry, my game is a little bit bugged. Very good. Here we go. We're good to go. We have our next series. It's going to be the lower semifinals. It's going to be a best of 3 between ByuN and ShoWTimE. Again, Classic is waiting in the grand finals. He's waiting in the grand finals for the winner of this next series for either a Terran or Protoss opponent. Let's go. Let us go. Again, I will say that ByuN and ShoWTimE, they're much, much closer in skill, and this is going to be a harder one to call. In the previous semis, you know, much love to Shameless, but Classic was the favorite player. Coming into this series, ByuN and ShoWTimE, again, it's going to be a hard one. They're both very, very skilled players, of course. Some of the best players in the world. Let's go. I'm ready for an ace match. I'm ready for game 3. That's all I want, at least. I'm greedy, Pappy. Greedy. Meanwhile, I do know that there were some people asking about Little League Cup earlier as well. Little League Cup, I believe, is just now starting, but we will not be casting Little League Cup live. Again, it does start a little bit late, and of course, we're hosting our own tournament, but we'll be getting into Little League Cup most likely via replays next week. This week, we're covering Home Story Cup, so in a week or in maybe even 2 weeks, we'll be catching up with Little League Cup group stage and playoffs as well. We'll get there. We will get there. I know it's a bit of a shame that the events are clashing at the moment, and people have to pick and choose what to watch. But it's all good. As here we go, as we're going to be loading into game 1. Oh my god, game 1 is going to be on Mothership. A bit of a rare sight here. We only really see Mothership in best of 5s or best of 7s, but no, we get to experience it here in the best of 3. Okay. I'm ready. Oh no. As spawning in the bottom side of Mothership, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player. We have the German Protoss representing Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. Here we go. Whew. As we're in the semis, we are in our best of 3. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are now open. Place your bets. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our TVP. Best of luck. Hypermetal Guardian Shield sounds scary. That was terrifying. That was terrifying. As we are opening up, and welcome one and all to Mothership. Mothership is a 3-player spawn map, 3 possible spawn locations. ShoWTimE does scout top left, and does confirm that ByuN is nowhere to be found. Okay, It's looking for ByuN. Likewise, this is one of the larger maps on the map pool, plenty of bases, and we often do see a lot of longer and later games here on Mothership. Now, one of the reasons why we rarely see this map specifically in TVP is because it is very common for the Protoss player to mass expand and to take over the map, to take over the majority of the map. It's going to be on the Terran to slowly establish their natural, their third, their fourth, and their fifth base. If you remember, we did recently cast, actually, what, yesterday, 2 days ago, Hero versus Maru in the grand finals of Rongi Cup, and we saw that dynamic where Hero, he had the entire map, but Hero was overly aggressive. If you remember, Hero, he pushed into Maru on 3 bases when personally I feel like he should have waited for Maru to get a fourth, and waited for Maru to kind of spread himself thin and get a little bit out of position or expose himself as he does expand and as he does take his 4th base. Hero, he was a little bit trigger happy, pushed in too soon, and lost everything attempting to break a defending Terran. We'll see how our 2 players will compare. We shall see. And so far we have an economic opener, a Rax expand out of ByuN, going for a later factory. ShoWTimE setting up for the proxy though. Pylon is finishing up. And we're going for the... We're right next door, by the way. Let's go. We're on the same screen. Proxy Stargate out of ShoWTimE with this Proxy Stargate, Proxy Oracle, and this can wreak havoc. This can do devastating damage here if ByuN is not ready. Cheeky moves out of ShoWTimE. Cheeky moves. ByuN does get across the map. But now distracted here at the natural. Doesn't get the probe, and it gets zoned away. Now, this is crucial here. ByuN didn't get into the main. If he got into the main base, again, ByuN, he will take note of the fact that there is no tech. So ByuN is denied vision, denied scouting. That would be the first sign that something's wrong. As ByuN, once again, is denied entry into the natural. So no scouting so far to ByuN. Reaper is denied, Oracle's on the way, and ByuN back at home is getting his tech lab working towards his Cyclone. Again, typically when it comes to safer builds, we go Rax into tech lab, into factory, into add-on swap, into faster Cyclone. Here it's going to be a little bit later. Did go into reactor marine production instead. And we'll see if ByuN can keep up. Does have the marines at least. So Oracle does slip in. Head for the main. Yeah, no Cyclone production. SCVs are going to go down. Getting 1, getting up to 2. Can we get 3? Oh, the heal. the medevac. Let's go. Saves the SCV. Only 1 SCV going down, but denied mining. You can see here, no mining in the main. So damage is still being done. SCVs have to transfer back. And I believe ShoWTimE saw the add-on swap. No. Oh, no, he did. Yeah, he did see the add-on swap. We confirmed that Cloak Banshee's on the way. I believe ShoWTimE has yet to see the research. He only knows the production setup. But he's going Phoenixes. Yeah, pokes in and he confirms he does spot the tech lab. Does spot the upgrade. ShoWTimE is now aware. Now, coming into this, I do favor... I feel like I favor ByuN slightly here. The Proxy Stargate has yet to really pay for itself. Did deny some mining, true, did kill 1 SCV. Did scout the follow-up. I mean, there has been value, don't get me wrong. Yeah, and should be able to shut down the Banshee. Yeah, massive pick-off. The Banshee does not get away. The Banshee falls, and ByuN is now in a rough position here. His opener has fallen on its face. Thankfully, I believe did cancel. Yeah, did cancel Cloak. So Cloak was cancelled. Ruby Hellion goes to the dive. Does get eyes on the Bay. Is where the Colossus. And ShoWTimE can now expand. I can just calm down, take his own 3rd base, build up and gain map control. ByuN is now stuck at home. Okay. Researching Interference Matrix. It has been a while. It's been a while since this has been the meta. Going into Ravens to counter Colossus. Yo, it's 2020 all over again. Wait, what? Look what we're seeing. It's Phoenix Colossus. It's Phoenix Colossus versus Raven. Versus Buy a Raven, pappy. We're back in the COVID era of StarCraft. It's for those who remember, what's happening here used to be standard. It used to be standard to open up Stargate, Phoenixes into Colossus. Of course, that died out, especially when it came to the smaller maps being introduced and more aggressive build and more aggressive Terran play. If you remember, the go-to from Terran was to go Raven. This was before we had the upgrade. If you remember, a couple of years ago, you didn't need the upgrade. Endurance Matrix would just come with the Raven. And we saw a lot of 2-base all-ins with Terran players moving out, disabling the Colossus at the end of the game. And because that was so prevalent and because it was so powerful, that is why the Raven got nerfed, and that is why the upgrade was introduced. Just because it was one of the reasons why games were ending so quickly and these Colossus-based defenses were struggling. As Ravens would move in, disable, and then just end the game. So eventually the Raven got nerfed, the upgrade was introduced, and then this kind of style died out. And of course, eventually Phoenix Colossus also died out as well. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been let's go. So the goal here is to disable the Colossus. The goal for ShoWTimE is to snipe the Ravens. Remember, ShoWTimE, he has how many Phoenixes? He has six Phoenixes. The goal here is to try to get eyes on this move out, try to outposition and pick off those Ravens before the disables can pop off. Observer gets spotted. Observer gets spotted. They spot each other. Phoenixes are moving in. And again, ShoWTimE, he needs those Ravens. Oh, nice stasis. Oh my god. Yeah, stasis goes off. And ByuN has to get the hell out of here. He has to get out. Does have to pull out. Ravens are somewhat exposed. Stasis is going to complete. Going for the Colossus. And not able to. Oh my god. Yeah, not able to. There's the first disable. But ByuN has bled out so many Marines. Armor shred goes off as well. Nice lock on here on the Colossus. One Colossus may barely go down. No, not even. We have the shield battery. Yeah, the battery's in position, and ByuN is going to be completely cleaned up. Yeah, ByuN will lose everything. GG gets called, and ShoWTimE takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A brutal stasis trap. That stasis trap was the MVP, cashing out a massive chunk. Like a third of the army was called out, and it went down for free, essentially. Likewise, ByuN, he had to commit. He tried to line up the stasis trap and the main army. He was unable to, lost most of his Marines, and the disables were a little bit shaky as well. He eventually disabled a Colossus, but again, it was after so many free shots went off, and on top of that, ShoWTimE pulled back far enough to the safety of the shield battery. So didn't lose any Colossus. Didn't lose them. GG, well played. Well, that was a weird build. That was a weird game, I should emphasize. Again, it's so rare to see these Raven timings, like to see these like Interference Matrix move outs. Very rare nowadays. Blast from the past. But here we go. Now we're getting into game 2. Going to be loading into Winter Madness. Whew. Going to be loading in. And we'll see if ByuN can recover. We'll see. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the blue Terran player. The blue Terran, we have the South Korean Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player. We have the German Protoss representing Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. You know what's crazier about what just happened is that it was Phoenix Colossus off of a proxy Stargate. Did that Stargate ever go down? Like, ShoWTimE made 1 Oracle and 6 Phoenixes out of the Stargate. That usually doesn't happen. I didn't even get to talk about that. Like, that just kind of, I just accepted the game state that we were in. But very often when you open up with a proxy like that, it eventually gets shut down. It gets hunted down, it gets cleaned up, and you're denied your tech. But no, that Stargate survived long enough to pump out 6 Phoenixes. That's crazy. But now though, it's going to be settling in. ByuN does move out, and he's coming in for the eBay block. Here we go. SCV moves in, as ShoWTimE is on the low ground, and ShoWTimE, he does get the SCV. Yeah, he sees, he knows, and he will deny the eBay. So nice moves out of ShoWTimE. The boys are being pulled. The eBay is going to be denied. The way this works, if the probe was not in position, if the SCV snuck by unscouted, then the eBay would begin. It would have enough progression to delay the expansion and to force the unnatural natural. Just because there'd just be too much HP, too much health on the eBay. The DPS output of the boys would not be high enough to deal with the eBay to expand. But ShoWTimE scouts, ShoWTimE cancels, and ShoWTimE expands. So a nice start here for ShoWTimE. Able to get into his opener. ByuN back at home, he's going for his own racks into delayed CC. Remember, this CC is delayed because he had to invest into the eBay. Like that did take a lot of money, of course. Did cancel, but again, that delayed the expansion. So we settle into Winter Madness. Winter Madness is another one of these larger maps in the map pool. Longer rushes by ground. We often do see longer games. And hey, if ShoWTimE wanted to slow the game down and go into Phoenix Colossus again, I mean, he could. Otherwise, we should be seeing Blink. Oh my god. We're going for the ByuN special here. 3cc, 3 racks, hyper greed out of ByuN. Now, ByuN does like to mix this in specifically on larger maps. Maps like Mothership, maps like Celestial Enclave, or even here like Winter Madness. It is very, very greedy and can be abused. Adept does poke in, delays the CC. Already a nice start here for ShoWTimE. Pokes up the ramp and gets eyes on the racks, but doesn't see much else. Remember, this is a 3cc, 3 rack setup. Now, what are the pros and cons here? Hyper greed. Hyper greed. This does mean that the natural base is going to be saturated faster because ByuN can make 3 SCVs at a time. He'll also saturate the third base faster as well, into a boosted economy, into a stronger mid game with a stronger economy and a stronger production as well. So this does bubble off in the mid game. The downside, of course, is you're heavily delaying the factory. So very, very late factory here. That means no defensive tanks. That means limited tech, of course. There's no drop play. There's no harassment. No Widowmine drops. No Hellions out on the map or anything either. It does mean that you're stuck at home until Stim finishes. And even then, you're going to be stuck at home even further. Because of the lack of defensive setup here, it does mean that ShoWTimE can punish this with a massive amount of gateways and with early Blink. For now, Blink is on the way. We have 2 gates currently, so 2 gate Blink out of ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE is not yet to get into the main. He has yet to scout. And ShoWTimE is going 2 gate Blink into a third. This is better for ByuN. Oh, can he get the probe? Oh my god, he can! Probe goes down, nice pickup. And ShoWTimE is expanding. So what's happening here? ShoWTimE is going 2 gate Blink. This is a economic build. It's a very economic build here for ShoWTimE. The problem is, as he's getting into an economic build, what's better than that? A greedy build, right? Like, ByuN is cutting a lot of corners here, going 3cc, 3 racks into the faster eBay, into the faster +1. It means that ShoWTimE cannot punish ByuN. So when it comes to the builds, so far at least, I do favor ByuN. And I can't really blame ShoWTimE, he just doesn't know, right? He just didn't scout. Didn't scout the main base. He's unaware. Regardless, we are still just both building up into said mid-game. Observer's now going to be moving in. Once the Observer moves in, typically the Protoss player at this stage would have to try to outgreed, and we often do see like Double Forge, for example. Double Forge, faster attack, try to catch up, recognizing that ByuN can't do anything. There we go, we get a full scout. He confirms 3rd CC and all 3 Raxes. So ShoWTimE is now aware of the build. Behind this going to charge. Did open Blink, and there's the tech, going for the bait. So we're expecting Double Forge, yep, Bay, Forge. Again, throwing down tech. He knows that he has to catch up. And he knows that he's safe, right? He knows that ByuN isn't going to be pushing anytime soon. Not without his medevacs. Speaking of, Starport is on the way. There's a reactor, soon to be add-on swap. ByuN now takes his 3rd base. It's going to be on ShoWTimE to try to delay. Gets a Marine. Gets 1 Marine so far. Going for another. Gets 2. That's something. Picks off 2 Marines. So far, ByuN's looking good. Getting his 3rd. ShoWTimE once again moves in, delays some mining. Again, it's crucial that ShoWTimE goes for moves like this. It's lit. It's like it's nothing major, but you know, slowly it adds up. So it denies some mining for a couple of seconds. Even forcing out a stim. So ShoWTimE forces out a stim, blinks away, doesn't lose any stalkers. Now getting his 4th base, expanding towards ByuN. There's that 2nd Forge. I would say the 2nd Forge is a little bit late. It's like usually as a reaction we see Double Forge, but he's getting there anyway. So second forge, double upgrades. ByuN can now move out. The medevacs have arrived. And is the Colossus out in time? It is. Yeah, it's not very nice force fields. Oh my god. Locks down the army. ShoWTimE is keeping up. ByuN is going to calm down. Behind this now getting to reactive Viking production. Ghost production has begun as well. And we're expecting to see a fourth CC. Like, we're expecting ByuN to start to build up into a longer macro game. Bring down his depots. Yep, there it is, fourth CC. As we mentioned, it's on ByuN to turtle up. To macro up. To get into a longer game. Does catch a Stalker. ByuN still has the boosted economy, that's true. Oh, that's a late eBay. Yeah, late eBay, late 2-2 upgrades. ShoWTimE should mass expand. Working towards a 5th expansion. And for now, we're just posturing. Posturing in the center. There's the 5th base. And ShoWTimE does actually commit into the middle line. Calm down. Calm down, Pappy. Okay, we're just gonna take it slow. Take it slow. Pick up a depot. Pick up an eBay. There's no need to overextend into the base. We actually brought this up in game 1, if you remember. We were talking and discussing Mario vs. Hero from a couple of days ago. How ShoWTimE has no need to push into the 3rd. All he has to do is just wait for ByuN to take his 4th. And as ByuN takes his 4th base, that's when he's spreading himself more thin. He's going to be more out in the open. That's where ShoWTimE can start to take advantage of ByuN. So here comes the 4th base. Unfortunately, ShoWTimE is not aware. He has his Zealot here on the left-hand side, but he doesn't have vision of the linear 4th. Prism's getting ready for a counterattack. Dark Shrine is now done. Both armies are maxing out. ShoWTimE stepping into the natural. The main army isn't being activated though. Drops in, hero hasses. Now would be the time to push in towards that planetary before it finishes. Yeah, but he's being more passive. It looks like ShoWTimE was expecting ByuN to push. That didn't happen though. ByuN was taking home. And now ShoWTimE's moving out after the Prism got dealt with. So at this point, I would say that ByuN has now secured his 4th base. Now ShoWTimE scouts. And now he sees. And this planetary cannot be broken. Yeah, we're forcing a late game. So ByuN, he successfully established his 4th base. He's fully walling off. Nice catch on the Disruptor. ShoWTimE is in a bit of trouble. ShoWTimE needs to get the hell out of here. He's racing back home. How many Vikings do we have? 11. 11 Vikings. ByuN rotating over towards the 6th base. And will force a cancel. ShoWTimE out of position completely. Time goes expansion. Catching out a couple of Stalkers as well. And ByuN commits in. How many Novas? 2. 2 Disruptors, 2 Novas. Nice EMPs. EMPs connected the Zealots. Colossus getting low. And the Disruptors are nowhere to be found. And down go the Colossi. Losing 1, 2, losing all 3 Colossi. Ay, ay, ay. ShoWTimE does hold. He's able to hold on, able to zone back ByuN. Actually coming from behind. And comes in from behind. Nice flank. ByuN is heavily overstinned. Jesus. He got all 3 Colossus, but again, at the cost of almost the entire army, and ByuN has to race back. He has to race back home. We got 3 more Colossus on the way, making 3 Colossus at a time. ByuN lost all of his Vikings. And this is one of the reasons, like, I can see, like, Maru and Clem, like, smiling at the moment. If Maru and Clem were in ByuN's position where he secures his 4th base, you know what they would do? They would throw down 2 more CCs, and then another CC, then another CC, and then just turtle up at home and just stay at home until they get Liberators. That's what they would do. Like, now we get Liberators after the lost fights. But they'll just turtle up at home, wait until they get up to, like, 8 Liberators. Slowly get a 5th base. ByuN just wants to be active. He just wants to be aggressive, man. He just... I can see the other Terrans like, see, this is why you don't attack in late game TVP. It's like, ah. Smoge, baby, smoge. ShoWTimE is in position, denying the 5th. Denying the 5th base. Again, the Viking count was reset. There's only 1 Viking. So Colossus, they can reign supreme. And ByuN is being bullied, losing both Liberators. I think that earlier fight was just, it was just too brutal. Just losing so much, losing too much. The laser's back. As Marines, they get shut down, and Nova's gonna be going if they connect. Oh my god! Crazy connections with the Novas. 4th Colossus has arrived. We have a 5th Colossus on the way. All of the Colossus, and again, there's no Vikings. There's no Vikings. As we mentioned before, after losing all the initial Vikings previously, could never build back up. Switching to Liberators. ShoWTimE is doing it. He blinks in. Takes down both Liberators, and there's nothing left. GG gets called. ShoWTimE will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played, congratulations. ShoWTimE does claim the series, does advance on into the grand finals. My condolences to ByuN. ByuN, he did well here in game 2. Game 1 was more shaky and more in control of ShoWTimE, of course. It was a crazy game 1 as well. But coming into game 2, we saw that ShoWTimE, he was able to, we saw that ByuN, he was able to establish his 4th base. That was a big moment. That was a big moment for ByuN that allowed him to max out, but he didn't have his perfect army. He had a high Viking count, but he only had, like, what, 2 ghosts. He had no Liberators either. He decided to move out, and he did deny a base, but he kept pushing. I was surprised to see him push in towards the 3rd base, so he overextended. He lost too much, instead of playing it a little bit closer to the chest, which is kind of what is known to occur in TVP. It's a little more common to, once you get your 4th base, just max out, perfect your army, get into your fusion core, into Liberator range, into your mass Liberator production with a 3rd starport, into your ghost, and then slowly break out. I appreciate that ByuN wanted to be active. I appreciate it. It's a little more fun, a little more active, a little more engaging, but it is more difficult to pull off just because you can get caught out like that. GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations to ShoWTimE, and with that, we have our 2 finalists. It's going to be a PvP finals between ShoWTimE and Classic. Let's go. Let's go. It's gonna be that grand finals, and before we get to the finals, it's time for la rifa, papi. True. It's time for the raffle. Un momento, papi, un momento. Here we go. For those that are curious, for those that are unaware, every single week, whenever it comes to our tournaments for a Tuna Cup, for a Sea Duckling Open and Macedon Open as well, we do have a random participation raffle. Basically, all the players that competed here tonight are equally eligible for a random raffle. The one exception to that is walkovers. If a player signed up, checked in, but didn't play, and a walkover was provided, if there was a forfeit, then they would be ineligible for the raffle. But otherwise, we got 14 players. We got 14 players this week looking to walk away a little bit richer. It's a way to spread the love, so it isn't too top heavy. I mean, it's random, of course. It's random. And we'll see. Hashtag rigged in the chat. True. But this week, our random raffle winner is... Oh, god damn it. Congratulations to ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE, he double dips, baby, double dips. He's already in the finals, he's already in the money, and now he's gonna have a boosted prize pool as well with an extra 5 USD. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to ShoWTimE. Shout out to D-Mega. I can see D-Mega as the runner-up. I can see Ragnar just behind him as well, followed by Universe, Cos Phoenix, and Nightmare. Yes, congratulations to ShoWTimE. And of course, hashtag rigged in the chat. We're getting into our finals. Vitas are done. It's going to be a best of 5. Best of 5 grand finals here. Let's go. Players, no breaks, jumping right in and spawning in the bottom hand corner of Winter Madness. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is a classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the German Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Sentinels. It is a ShoWTimE. We go, and if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our best of 5. Let's go, baby, let's go. Coming into this, Classic is still the favorite player in the tournament, but ShoWTimE is definitely the caliber player to take it to Classic. Again, they're both some of the best Protoss players in the world, and we'll see how our players do compare to each other. We'll see what we bring to the table. Let's go. Let us go. As again, ShoWTimE was able to pop off against ByuN earlier, knock him down 2-0. How does it compare to Classic in a PvP? Classic is known for being more aggressive, more assertive. Oh boy. Bearing in mind that if you don't watch much ShoWTimE versus MaxPack, ShoWTimE is also very aggressive as well. I know that historically ShoWTimE has had the nickname, Demour, the wall being hyper defensive and more macro oriented and more late game oriented, and that is true even in modern StarCraft to a point. But in PvP, that is out the window. ShoWTimE, he is one to cheese, to proxy, to throw down pylons, robos, one base all-ins. ShoWTimE is not afraid to get down and dirty, specifically in PvP, and we see it quite often. Oh, meanwhile, Classic does go for a fake proxy pylon. So Classic going for the fake out. Meanwhile, going for a 2-gate opener. ShoWTimE opening up 2-gate, but closer to his main base instead. And ShoWTimE doesn't even probe scout. Okay. So what's happening here? So ShoWTimE is going for a much later scout with his probe. With this setup, ShoWTimE, technically, this is more efficient. Technically. It means that when ShoWTimE throws down his gateway and his cybercore and his Stargate as well, it's all close to the chest, it's all right next to the mineral line, so he can just go back to mining that much faster. Back to mining. Classic's going for his own worker across the map will soon confirm the lack of expansion and the wall of here as well. The downside is that your wall is more exposed, more vulnerable. Classic confirms no base. Classic going for a defensive robo. Uh-oh. We're getting rowdy. I like this for ShoWTimE. So ShoWTimE, he denies a scout. He denies a scout. Classic, his reaction here is in line with a defense against an all-in. So Classic, he believes that there's an all-in coming his way, so he can shut it down. But there's no proxy, there's no all-in. Yeah, now he confirms. Gets eyes on the wall. I mean, he sees there's nothing there. I believe better shot here for ShoWTimE. Yeah, ShoWTimE barely comes out on top, and nice, gets one extra shot off. So slightly better trade here for our German Protoss. Meanwhile, the Oracle is on the way. Classic, he may throw down a gateway and be forced into his own one base. So you can see shield battery as well. He still doesn't know what's going on. Still doesn't know. The Oracle's coming. But Classic's in position. He has his army ready in the mineral line. If he throws down another gateway, then he'll just turn this into an all-in. As no one is yet to expand. The Oracle moves out. Classic going for his own War Prism counterattack. Armies are in position. We see ShoWTimE throwing down another shield battery. Let's get another battery. Second Oracle's on the way. 2 Oracles. They can one-shot probes. That Epsite getting into the mineral line. 2 at Epsite also one-shot probes. Classic moving in. Oh! Gonna be zoned away. Classic is deflected. Now ShoWTimE is aware of the robo. So he hasn't seen the main base, but now he knows that there's a robo out in the main. Classic expands. And ShoWTimE makes his way into the mineral line. Gets one. Just one. Just one probe. A quick reaction to the Classic. Very nice. Pulls away in time. ShoWTimE confirms it's a base. Ooh, and ShoWTimE in for his own robo. Aye, aye, aye. Yeah, it's going to be a later expansion for ShoWTimE, but he will expand. After a very tense early game, we're settling it. By calming down, we're both expanding. But again, it's been very tense, and ShoWTimE still has potential with these oracles. Likewise, so does Classic with that prism. So still very tense. Both oracles dip in, they get one more probe. Two more probes. Three! Oh my god. Three probes go down. Classic, he commits. He's moving out with his two immortals. He has his prism, he has his war pins. And with two immortals, Classic, he can break the natural. He can also juggle his units. He can micro. It's going to be a tough hold here for ShoWTimE. He could try to pull the boys. As Classic goes from the warping, there we go, the boys are being pulled. Yeah, he does commit in. And Classic does kite back, and the force fields are brutal. The army just cannot engage. Oracle goes down. Now going for the third, and ShoWTimE, he just cannot keep up. Not like this. Down goes the natural. Classic takes a massive lead. Likewise, he can fight head on as well. Bullying back the army, going for the immortal. Down, the immortal goes down. Can't pick up. Up. Yeah, barely saves the immortal as well. Classic overwhelming. Overwhelms the army. Oof. Baits out of shots. Calm down, Classic. Oh my god, GG gets called. And Classic takes game number 1. GG. Aye, aye, aye. A very, very tense game here. Again, initially both players staying on one base. We had the Stargate opener out of ShoWTimE. We had the Robo response out of Classic. The Oracles didn't really get much damage done. I want to say got 3 or 4 probe kills in total, but the all-in there from Classic was brutal. With that early Robo, meant extra immortals. It meant the War Prism as well. He just had more tools here to work with, more aggressive tools available for Classic. ShoWTimE, unfortunately, didn't really have much at home. He had 1 immortal, but no shield battery, and again, no prism for his own control. GG. GG, well played. With that, Classic takes the lead, and now we're going to be loading into game number 2. Whew, here we go. So loading into game 2, going to be loading into Ruby Rock. A much smaller map of the map. Much smaller map. Now, the real question becomes, after game 1, do we ever macro in this series? Do we do we ever get up to like 2 base saturation? Do we ever get up to 3 base saturation? I don't think so, but we'll see. Let's go. Show us what you got this morning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself, representing Team Virtus Pro. It is a Classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the German Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. Here we go. There we go. Here we go as we're getting into game number 2. So far, so good. As we do have ShoWTimE moving out early on this time with his probe. Does move out early on. This time we do have a much more standard setup here on top of the ramp. 2 gate opener out of ShoWTimE, 2 gate opener out of Classic. So far, so good. As Classic does veer off towards the top side, once again looking to go for a fake proxy pylon. I'm assuming fake. As he's in position for the pylon. Yeah, the probe does a bit of the pylon as well. So fake pylon here by Classic. ShoWTimE slips into the main base, and ShoWTimE, he's now aware that a pylon is missing. Whether it's real or fake, it's hard to know here. ShoWTimE sends out a... Does he see? Barely, no, but he does send out a second probe. Checking the top side. Yeah, it does check the edge. He's checking for common robo locations. He's on the hunt. And we'll see if ShoWTimE responds with his own robo. Classic does poke in. Checking for the pylons. Does confirm all 3 pylons. They're all in the main, so a very defensive setup here by ShoWTimE. And this is already better for Classic. Basically, the 3rd pylon is in the main base instead of setting up here at the natural. Classic going to be the first to expand. And Classic does come out on top here in the early game. So far. So far. With a slight edge. You have a tech of choice. So ShoWTimE going for his own Twilight Council into Blink. So I meant to say Classic going for his own Twilight Council to Blink. Likewise, ShoWTimE doing the same. So we're getting into Blink Stalkers. We're getting into 2-base saturation. I mentioned earlier, like, are we going to macro at any point of this series? I mean, we're at least getting up to 2 bases. The next big thing we're looking for here is extra gateways. So Shiobari does take a lot of hits. And the battery is going to be cancelled. Battery is cancelled. 1 sentry goes down as well. Nice wiggle here by ShoWTimE. Yeah, better trades, better pickoffs. As he does barely keep all 4 Stalkers alive. But ooh, it's way too soon. This Classic does hold. And Classic can just bully back this army. ShoWTimE has to get out of here. Oof, he has to get the hell out of here. Taking a lot of hull damage. And barely will get away. Barely gets away. Classics were chasing. Oh my god. He's still on the chase. Adepts are moving out for both players. Classic with the interception. He wants those Stalkers. He wants them. Oh, can he get him? One more volley. Oh my god. Takes down the Stalker. At the same time, ShoWTimE has arrived. Gets into the mineral line. Getting 1, 2, 3 probes at the same time. Classic moves in, going for the battery. We're getting messy. Yeah, we're getting very messy here. Ooh, takes down the sentry. But the battery does finish. Battery completes. ShoWTimE holds. ShoWTimE holds on. And as we get into this here, ShoWTimE does kill 4 probes. ShoWTimE takes a slight worker lead over Classic. ShoWTimE has momentum. Earlier blink as well, true. He's getting to earlier blink. Proxy Gateway's finishing up. ShoWTimE, he can be aggressive. Let's see if Classic can hold on. Classic taking a 3rd base as well. Ay, ay, ay. Can he hold on to the 3rd? No shot. We'll see. Blink is revealed. Classic finishing up his own blink. Likewise, the proxy is not done. Oh, the Classic going for the dive. Catching on a Stalker. ShoWTimE moves inattentive. Shadows to the Observer. ShoWTimE gets 1, he gets 2. Classic punishing ShoWTimE. But we're getting into the mid game. It's happening. 3rd bases for both players. We're getting to our 3rds. Immortal production has begun. Forge as well for +1. It's been very tense. It's been a very, very tense early game, but we're calming down. We're expanding. Classic does have the earlier Immortal production, true, and the faster Forge. That is a bit of a concern. ShoWTimE had the extra gateway, but he didn't really make use of it. Oh, and Classic going into Glaives. Okay, hyper aggression out of Classic. Going into Glaives this quickly does not scale well into a longer game. The goal here is to hit, to strike, to kill with Immortal Adept. So much more committed build out of Classic instead of going to charge, which is what ShoWTimE is doing. ShoWTimE is going for a standard follow-up, going to charge, going into Archon production. But I believe that Classic should hit before Archons. I believe that's the goal. To hit pre-Archon. We'll see if he can. As As here comes the gateway explosion. All the gates are being thrown down. Adepts are warping in. Adepts, they can trade well against Zealots. And Classic with a higher immortal count ideally wants to get on top of the Stalkers with said immortals. So again, this is going to hit quite hard. It's going to hit very hard. Still waiting for the upgrades. ShoWTimE throws in his Temple Archives, as we mentioned, getting into Archons. But here comes Classic. Here comes that Prism. Classic can start to move out. Just waiting for those adepts. There we go. We have warping in 6 adepts at a time. He's got 3 immortals. Checks for a gateway. Does find one. Now the best thing ShoWTimE can hope for here is a backstab. A backstab and ideally forcing Classic back home. As ShoWTime's Stalkers are revealed, Classic is aware, and he just moves out. And he just moves out. He's like, okay, the Stalkers are out of position. Classic commits. Warping in more depths. And there's 1 defensive Archon. There's 1 Archon back at home, 1 Immortal, mainly Zealots. There's the recall back home. Classic is going for it. Triggers the shields. It does trigger those shields. Kites back with the Immortals. So far, nice control. One of the Immortals getting caught out. Saves the Immortal, does move in. Zealots are going down, and now the Immortals can get on top of the Stalkers. Up, goes to the blink. Nice pickup. Gets the Immortal. But there's 2 more. Yeah, there's 2 more where that came from, and with that Classic, he breaks on 3, punishes the Stalkers. May have lost his Prism, but he still has plenty to work with here on the ground. There's still 2 more Immortals left over. Locks down ShoWTimE. Classic needs a warp in. He needs another warp in. Classic is waiting for his reinforcements. They take a long time to get across the map. Oh my god. Trading 1-to-1. ShoWTimE, can he survive? He's got charge lots. He's barely holding on. Again, if ShoWTimE hadn't killed that War Prism, that would have been game. 100%. That would have been game then and there. But these Warpins are so late for Classic. And ShoWTimE survives. He survives, Patrick. And now Classic is in a rough position. As we mentioned before, Glaive Adepts don't really scale well into a longer game. That was it. Like that was meant to kill. That was supposed to kill. And it almost did. The longer this goes on, the better it is for ShoWTimE. As now there are no more Immortals. Adepts take him into the shade. Oh, he does commit in. As Zealots are coming for the surround. Archon's going to be targeted. The Prism goes down once again. And ShoWTimE, we're looking to make a series out of this. We're looking to make a series out of this. Cleans up the army. There's nothing left here. Classic is right out of steam. ShoWTimE is looking to tie this up, but behind this, Classic is going into +2, going to a 4th base, a 4th Nexus. But no shot he can hold in. He can hold on to this. No shot. Now, currently, ShoWTimE is playing scared. He's a little bit terrified about a push, about a move out. Classic does have eyes on this. Once his observer goes down, then ShoWTimE can push. Just waiting for his observer. We can see Classic getting ready for his own Adept Harass. Observer has arrived. And now would be the time to push. Classic moves in. He gets spotted. Now ShoWTimE knows there's no Adept counterattack. Now would be the time. Let's go to his Prism. And now ShoWTimE still playing it safe, getting extra warp-ins, waiting for +2. There we go. Now as he moves out, Classic can wreak some havoc here, warping in 2 more Adepts. Speaking of, ShoWTimE turns everything back around. He's being delayed. Thankfully he commits. Yeah, thankfully this time he does not turn around. We'll lose a couple of workers, but it's fine because he can look to end the game. Look to just end the game. There are some force fields, true. There's a sentry. ShoWTimE he rotates, he's up 40 supply. That's a lot of adepts. You got the mass adepts back. ShoWTimE still waiting for another warp in. Will lose his prism. Oh man, he pulls away. Doesn't commit in. This is giving a little bit more time here for a classic. Warping in 8 adepts at a time. This is where ShoWTimE needs more Archons. Gets one more. But pushing up this ramp is going to be so difficult. Does rotate instead. And rotates over, gets up the ramp. Batteries are exposed. Diving on the adepts. Archons move in. One Archon's a little bit too far back here, but overall still a better trade for ShoWTimE. At least trying to break through. Never mind. Oh my god. The Zealots, they just melted the adepts. Oh my god. They did melt. Only 3 Archons. No shot. I mean, at the same time, that was 15 dead workers. But classic. Can he chase this down? He can. Gets both Archons. No shot. Yo, who needs upgrades? Who needs to take just mass adept, baby? Mass adept. GG gets called. Classic, he does overwhelm, and Classic takes a 2-0 lead in this series. GG. ShoWTimE. He had it, baby. Again, ShoWTimE, he had such a strong start shutting down the all-in, but he waited so long. We did speak about this coming into the game, and I guess we saw it come into play at the very end there. Adepts, they don't scale well into a longer game, but they are ideal against mass zealots. That's where Archons can outtrade them. There were only 3 Archons, and 2 of them were not. Sorry, 1 of them wasn't really able to engage. The zealots, they just melted to the adepts. And personally, I do feel like ShoWTimE did way too long. Both armies were maxed out. There was a time in this game where ShoWTimE was up 40 supply. That was his moment. That was his moment. But he waited, and Classic, he caught up. He caught up with the mass adepts. GG. GG, well played. And again, ShoWTimE, he defended so well against the all-in. Like, ShoWTimE he was in a good position, but yeah, just a little bit too tentative. Maybe not as confident as he needed to be. GG, well played. Classic is up 2-0, and Classic is 1 game away from claiming the series. And I'm hoping for a game 4. I'm hoping for a game 5, but the pressure is now on. The pressure is on, baby. And spawning in the bottom hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Virtus Pro, leading the series 2-0 and 1 game away from claiming the series. It is a classic. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the German Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Sentinels. Down heavily in the series, has to fight back here and now to make a series out of this. It is a ShoWTimE. And he was in such a good position last game. Like, survived the all-in, took the economic lead, took the army lead. Did way too long there. Classic caught up. And with that, we're now getting into game number 3. That's also one of those games that does, like, kind of hit your confidence a little bit as well. Like, it hits your mental, like, for sure. ShoWTime's like, mate, claim us, they're broken, Pappy. True. PvP unwinnable, Pappy. Unwinnable. So hopefully ShoWTimE can shake it up. Can lock in. Hopefully. And here we go. Once again, we're going to be setting up for our expansion. So far, 2 gate openers. This time, no proxy. No proxy, no setup, but no fake setup either. No fake pylon. We have a varying opener, though. It's going to be double Adept out of Classic and Stalker Sentry out of ShoWTimE. Okay, different pairing of units. With this, Classic will be the aggressor. Two Adepts, they can harass, they can threaten shades, they can keep ShoWTimE busy. ShoWTimE just going for a safer and more scout-heavy style instead, going for the Sentry into Hallucination Scout. So aggressive opener out of Classic, safer out of ShoWTimE. Does hunt down the probe. Only reveals the Stalker. ShoWTimE does lay the expansion, okay. He will lose the pylon, but does get eyes on both Adepts. Oh no! Probe gets caught out. ShoWTimE will be the first to expand. And Classic not too far behind. ShoWTimE, sorry, it's Classic. So I'm going to say Classic not too far behind. God. It's all melding together. As Classic is not stopping, by the way. He's making another pair of Adepts. Okay, getting up to 6. Building up into 6 Adepts. Gonna have some big shades. Behind this, ShoWTimE going for a faster Twilight Council into Blink, and meanwhile Classic going into the Robo instead, which gets scouted. It's scouted. Thinking these shades are just going to be keeping ShoWTimE pinned back at home. Jesus. Keep him pinned. Getting it to 8. It's a lot of Adepts. And Mortals are amassing as well. In a head-on fight, I do favor a more Stalker-heavy composition with Blink, but where's Blink, by the way? The Twilight Council's been done. Yeah, it's delayed. It delayed Blink. ShoWTimE was just distracted by the Adepts. As he was banking up, banking up. Now we're getting in. Classic still threatening, still being so annoying. Just taxing the attention of ShoWTimE. And with that War Prism, Classic can just drop straight into the main. Sentries, I believe, are being spotted. Okay, sentries are seen. ShoWTimE has to be careful. And thankfully, he splits off some Stalkers. Otherwise, Classic could have gone into the main. So ShoWTimE is keeping up. Stalkers are on patrol. And for the first time here, we're getting a third. Building a bit of third base. I mean, technically we had a third base last game as well, but it was still hyper aggressive. Classic once again threading a dive. Getting on top of the sentries. Not bad. Gets one. Gets a sentry. Gets a stalker. So many force fields thrown down. And Classic is out trading it. Just rallying his immortals across the map. He's breaking through. Only one battery. The prison barely does pull away, and Classic has done it. Classic has broken ShoWTimE. Again, just keeping him busy, just rallied across the map. GG gets called, and Classic, he'll break through. He'll take the series 3-0, advancing on, or becoming this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played, as just the pressure just eventually eclipsed and just surpassed ShoWTimE there, just slowly rallying and reinforcing with immortals, with sentries. ShoWTimE, he was split. He did have a lot of stalkers in the main base ready for drop play, but again, he was unfortunately stuck at home. Opening up Twilight Council into Blink, the goal is to gain map control. Like, getting into Blink Stalkers, the goal is for map control, the goal is to contain your opponent and to vie for map control, but because of the non-stop Adepts, ShoWTimE, he was stuck at home, couldn't actually make use of his Blink Stalkers, and with those immortal reinforcements, instance, Classic had the better army. He had the stronger army in a head-on fight, and he was able to force that head-on fight out of ShoWTimE. Never expanding. He was setting up for a third base and never took his third base, just warped in, just rallied across the map, and eventually broke ShoWTimE. GG. Crazy. Crazy, baby. GG well played. Again, just kind of bullying ShoWTimE and not allowing him to get into his own game. Again, ShoWTimE just being contained, just being stuck at home, unable to make use of his potentially more mobile army. GG well played. Oh, congratulations here to Classic. And again, I feel like we were robbed of game 4. Like, I'm still thinking about the game on Ruby Rock. Like, I'm still thinking about game 2 where ShoWTimE, he shut down the all-in, he defended, he had built up his army, he was up 40 supply, and he just stayed at home a little bit too long. He was a little bit too conservative, a little bit too defensive there, and Classic had a crazy comeback. Like, game 2 is going to live rent-free in my mind for quite some time. But GG well played. Congratulations to Classic, does claim the series. Shout out to ShoWTimE, because even though ShoWTimE went down here, I can definitely see the series going into a game 4, going into game 5. I can see that happening. Likewise, ShoWTimE, he didn't have an easy road to the finals. He took down ByuN to get there. ByuN and Young Yakov. You can definitely argue that ShoWTimE had the harder bracket, for sure. Did have the harder bracket, getting through both Young Yakov and through ByuN to face off against Classic. But GG well played. Congratulations to Classic. And with that, that wraps up our Tuna Cup for the week. Again, this is a weekly open tournament. This is the longest running open tournament as well in StarCraft 2, especially because the ESL Pro Tour did come to an end, so the ESL weeklies did die down, and again, we've been running our event for that much longer as a result. So if you want to support us and if you want to support the Tuna Cup, you can do so via Patreon. Patreon in the chat. As you can support our tournament, you can help fund, help us grow our event if you wish. Otherwise, you can help. Otherwise, we do have our weekly schedule. There we go. We have our weekly schedule. It's a very jam-packed week of StarCraft. We were originally going to be casting Homestory Cup this morning, but unfortunately, I was unavailable. I guess maybe I went too hard yesterday, and my throat was actually quite sore this morning, so I wasn't able to cast. I want to make sure that I was at 100% for Tuna Cup this evening, so did take the morning off. But tomorrow going to be live, most likely with Pigstar Cup and Water TV Monday, followed by Homestory Cup on Thursday and Friday. We have the Pond Cast on Thursday. We have RSL qualifiers over the weekend, more Homestory Cup, and of course the return of Tuna Cup on Sunday. So our next Tuna Cup is going to be this Sunday. Again, typically it's on Sundays, but this week it was on Thursday. Sorry, it was on Tuesday because of Rongi Cup and because of all the other events over the weekend. So again, the weekend was a little bit stacked. Last weekend it was Homestory Cup. This weekend it was Rongi Cup. So again, we didn't want to clash. With the other events that were going on. So yeah, we have our weekly schedule. Again, for the most part, we're getting back into the swing of things. I'm a little bit tentative about tomorrow's morning broadcast. Tomorrow we're going to be casting Pigstar Cup, and I probably will be able to cast the tail end of it, but I might miss out on like the round of 32 and the round of 16. I might miss out on the first round or the first 2 rounds. Tomorrow morning we are going to the vets. I'm going to be taking our pet bunny to the vet for a post-op checkup, to make sure everything's okay and to figure out what the plan is moving forward as well. So that is going to be tomorrow morning. I should be getting back at home in time to cast Pigstar Cup, but again, I might miss the first couple of rounds. It'll be all good. Just a heads up for tomorrow's broadcast. So if you see Pigstar Cup begin and we're not live, you know why. It's probably because we're on our way home. So that is going to be tomorrow morning. We have, again, What Is It Monday in the evening, and we have the Homestory Cup broadcast that we are catching up on. Again, we were unavailable to cover Homestory Cup this season. We've been casting Homestory Cup since 2020. Since it's been years, but we missed out this weekend with Homestory Cup, so we have some catching up to do. We'll get there. We will get there. I did hear that a lot of really fun matches were played, so we'll be all over that. Hope all goes well. Thanks for casting. Thank you so much. Hope you all enjoyed the broadcast, and stick around because we're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. If you want to support us in another way outside of via Patreon, outside of monetarily, you can do so via socials. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. More importantly, if you see something you like here and if you can't watch it live, if you're like, hey, I want to watch previous Tuna Cups, or I want to watch our coverage of Homestory Cup or Rongi Cup was a big event that we covered, Thunderfire as well. If you missed out on Maru versus Raynor, or Hero versus Raynor, or Hero versus Maru, like we had some crazy finals and some crazy games, it's all on YouTube. It's all over on YouTube, so you can check out there. under the live tab under our VODs. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for either Pigosword Cup or the WarTCB Monday. See you tomorrow. Till then, ciao, bye, ciao. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.